Hi, everyone. This is Sue from Wellness Wednesdays, and I thought I would share with you what I would perceive as the best choices, five simple best choices of poses for optimal benefit, for optimal health. And there are tons and tons of yoga poses. And it's really going to depend on your fitness level, your yoga practice level, if you have any injuries. And the reason I chose these five is because they have a ton of benefits and they're simple and anyone can do them. I'm in regular clothes. You can be in your regular comfy clothes at home. I'm going to show you some options with a chair today, which you can incorporate if you like. And yeah, I just was inspired because so many people are at home right now and they're not necessarily knowing what to do. They're a little nervous about yoga on YouTube, and maybe they can't follow me on my yoga online classes. And so this is an offering. And what I might suggest is that you do them every day in the sequence I give them to you. Think of them as a little mini yoga practice. And see how you feel after a week. See how you feel after a month. Maybe I'll do another series. So I'm going to meet you on the back part of my room here. I'm going to stand up so you can see me. And I'm going to show you each and every one of the poses. So join me. They're easy. You can do them. Okay. You can see that I'm just standing in a regular room. There's no mat. You don't need a mat. And I'd like you to just stand in what we call mountain pose. You can see my feet are parallel and even. You might want to even look down to make sure yours are. And I'm just standing up straight. I've got my palms turned toward you so that my shoulders actually rest more to the back of my body. While you're here, I want you to just make sure you're not locking your knees or you don't feel like you're pushing your pelvis forward or backward. They're pretty much stacked right over your ankles, and that your shoulders are stacked over your pelvis, and then your head is stacked over your shoulders. So standing tall like a mountain. This particular pose is a base of all yoga poses. We look for stability. We look for balance between right and left sides, between front and back body. You stand and breathe for maybe 4 or 5 nice deep breaths. And you just sense and feel your whole body. The second pose that I want to give you is a little add-on to this one. I've actually added this pose, mountain pose, and the next one as one. I'm going to show you how to adapt this with a chair. So I've got a chair here, and I just turned it around so that I can put my hand easily on the back of the chair, and maybe I won't need it. So standing from my mountain pose, I want to put all my weight, let's put all the weight in your right leg, push down into the floor, and see if you can pick up your leg. Some of you might not be able to, so this is where the chair comes in. And then turn your leg out and put your foot somewhere on the lower leg. You can put your foot above your knee, but please don't put your foot on your knee. Or you can lift your foot all the way up to your inner leg and hold it here. Wherever you go, I'm going to slide mine down here. The more important thing is to balance. So if you need the chair, please use it. If you don't need the chair, the arms could maybe come out to the side. Palms up is nice. If you feel still pretty stable, you might want to bring your arms up over your head. The most important part is to be able to stand and balance and not fall over. So find a place where your arms can be that can challenge you a little bit. You can see I'm waddling around a tiny little bit, but I can stay here. Again, we stay for about 4 or 5 breaths, sensing and feeling what's going on. And then when you're ready, relax your arms down, hold the chair if you need it, put your foot on the floor. Okay, let yourself adjust a minute before you go to the other side. And again, you can always use the chair to start and then take your hands away like I'm doing. So turning the other leg around so the heel lands on the inner leg somewhere. Now the thing I want to mention is that if your hip goes off to the side, this isn't good for your outer hip. So I want you to imagine I'm pushing on your hip to bring it back up. You create that by pushing your foot into the floor. And then find where you can be. So maybe your hands can come off. Actually, putting your arms out here is easier than keeping your hands close to you. And then maybe you've got the stability to raise your arms up over your head. And just like a tree, you've got this root, this base from about the waist down. And then you got this like movement, just like trees have, from that base. Why do I want you to do this one? Because this one builds on the stability of the first one, mountain pose, and it also starts to really work with your balance. And I don't know about you, but if I don't have balance, I'm not going to be able to walk very well. I'm going to be tripping all the time. So I really want to work on that. I'm going to move this out of the way for a minute. The third pose, or the second one, because I kind of combined the first two, is warrior pose, warrior two pose. It's another basic beginner pose. And why do I want you to do this one? Because it builds strength in the legs. The first two builds a little bit of balance and stability. This one will build more strength. So I want you to take your feet apart in a comfortable distance. You can see that mine are a little bit wider than my own shoulders. I want you to spin your left foot away from you. And you can either leave this leg the way it is, or you can push your heel back. Raise your arms and bend your front knee so it goes right over your front ankle. And you might want to look down to make sure it is. And then work with going up and down here. Most people, when they do this pose, they go like this. And that just is going to make this leg super tired. So bring your weight more in the middle of both legs. And then look over your front hand. You could even turn your hands up. And again, we stay for about 5 breaths. If it feels ridiculously hard, your feet are too far apart. If it feels ridiculously easy, your feet are too close together. And you want to really feel rooting down through this back leg, just like we were doing on the standing poses. And not a whole lot of tension or tightness around the knee. So if you're having that, you back the knee up just a tad, it'll feel better. If you push the knee too far forward, there's too much tension here. So you got that sweet spot. Okay, take a rest, release your arms, straighten your leg, bring your feet forward. And then we'll do the other side. So see how you feel. This starts to ask to open up the hips a little. So if you're tight, your feet are going to be closer together. So spin your foot and spin your back heel. And then turn to face me with your chest, take your arms open. And as you exhale, bend that front knee. And then just for a quick second, look down, make sure it hasn't fallen inward. If it's doing that, please bring it over your ankle. Make sure you're not leaning forward, reach back, and then you're trying to elongate up here. Press down through the legs, make the legs do the work, and then look over your front hand, which is your opposite hand now, palms up, and breathe. Where you notice sensation is probably where you need the breath. And this can be felt in all kinds of places. Always remember that what you should be feeling is a healthy sensation. Maybe it feels a little bit like work, but it shouldn't hurt. There should be no compression or pain. And the only place you're going to feel that really is in this front knee, and that's when you back it up. Good. Inhale, come on up. Feet together. Walk your feet toward each other, and then shake your legs out a little. And let's come back to mountain pose for a moment. You can turn your palms like mine, or you can leave your hands resting towards your body. Don't turn your hands to the wall behind you. And just take a couple of nice deep breaths. So we worked on stability and feeling empowered and grounded. We worked on balance, and we worked on strength. Then last two are going to be done on the floor. And this next one is a twist for the spine. So it helps to build suppleness and ease to the spine itself. And so what I want you to do is just come down and lay down on the floor. Nothing hard. If you have a yoga mat, it's nice to put it on the floor. It kind of gives you a sense of, oh, I'm doing my yoga. But as you can see, I don't have one. Your arms are going to be down on the floor, palms down, maybe about 45 degrees away from your body. And the first thing I want you to do is just sort of feel your shoulders on how they're on the floor. Feel the back of your head and feel your pelvis. This first thing is just a simple twist. You're going to lift your right hip off the floor and let your knees drift over to the left. Now, this might be plenty. Depends on your back, it depends on your hips, it depends on a lot of things. If this doesn't feel like much, turn your hands over and bring your arms out more. And that might feel great. And if it still needs a little bit more, take your bottom leg and hook it over the top leg. And then breathe those 4 to 5 nice deep breaths. We're working from the top of the spine down to the bottom. And so it's normal to feel a little sensation somewhere along the spine. When you're ready to come up, if you hooked your foot like I did, unhook it and then come back up. Now it's likely that you might feel that same stretch on the other side, but don't be so sure. So start from the beginning, palms down. Let your legs go over to the other side. See how that feels. Then maybe take your hands up more and see how that feels. And then maybe take your bottom leg over the top leg. So I know on this side, I've got a lot more freedom and flexibility than on the other side. It isn't supposed to be hard. You're just asking for a specific action of the body. In this case, a spinal twist. And again, take one more breath or so. And then uncross your bottom leg and then come back up. Let your arms rest down by your side and pause here for a moment. Many people tell me that when they have really a lot of tension and tightness in their lower back, that simple thing is real helpful to them. The last one I'm going to show you is what we call legs up the wall pose. I'm going to call it legs up the chair pose. You can get the same exact benefits as legs up the wall, but it's not quite so problematic. It's like, well, okay, if I was going to put my legs up the wall, my picture's in the way, so then I got to take my picture down, or my table's in the way, I got to move my table. So this is just simpler. And remember, simple is doable. If it starts to become too problematic, too many pieces, you're just not going to do it. All right, so there's 2 ways to do this. The first way is just to lie down on your back, close to your chair, put your legs up, just like that. If you happen to want a little bit more out of this pose, you can take a blanket, I've got one folded here, and you're just going to roll it underneath your pelvis. And then see how that feels. My chair's a little too close to me now. Okay. What I want is your legs to be completely relaxed and supported by the chair, your pelvis to feel like it's a little bit higher and comfortable, and it's higher than your chest and your head. This is legs up the wall or legs up the chair pose, and it has so many benefits that I really do recommend that people stay here longer than the 5 breaths. Maybe 5 minutes. And if you fall asleep, great. If you've never done this before, you might notice a sensation around your face or throat. That's not a bad thing. That's the energy, the prana moving down and nourishing your mind, your face, your throat, your heart, your nervous system. Anytime your legs are higher than your heart, your nervous system is going to automatically calm down. And you might notice that when you do this, your legs already feel calmer and less tense, maybe less tired. And then if you stay here and you're thinking, you know, I don't really love the blanket, take it away. Simple. Depends on your legs. So I've got kind of a high chair and my leg length from knee to hip is not as long. And so I feel like that's just a little bit too high. Optimally for me, I'd have the blanket there. You let your breath rest and move maybe down into the belly. You let your jaw and your throat relax. And you just let the floor support you. And stay for as long as you like. And there are my 5 optimal yoga poses that have profound effects if you do them every day. Maybe take 10 minutes every day and give yourself a little challenge, seeing as how we're home and seeing as how we're all looking for ways of self-care. And then let me know how you do. I hope that you're well. I hope that you practice. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everyone.